morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Raye's Breakfast. Hashtag What Are You Saying? The table where we stir up the conversations that matter with warmth, wit, and just the right pinch of truth. As the saying goes, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. But what happens when discipline is seen as punishment? And this morning, we're unpacking the story shaking the NYSC, the case of Raye, the corps member whose certificate was withheld after a 2-month service extension. Was it simply the law taking its course or a subtle silencing of a bold voice? My name is Oluchi Omenka, and joining me to serve today's conversation hot are the ever insightful Goodness Idehe, the vibrant Ololade Akimboye, and the brilliant Chioma Kalu. Together, we're going to pull back the layers on this issue and hear your thoughts too. Let's meet my girl.
Good morning.
That's my favorite part of the show. The melody with our greetings. How are we doing this morning?
Doing very well.
I'm bubbling.
You're bubbling. That's a new one, Goodness. I think it's a topic that's making you bubble because behind the scene, they've been saying a number of things, but not to take our attention away from how critical this topic is. Something else kind of caught my attention this morning. I was going through Instagram, so I follow Mel Robbins. I don't know who knows Mel Robbins here. So she had an interview with a particular psychologist and professor that has spent 25 years studying, human behaviors and how people navigate their 20s. So the highlight of our conversation was that she was conversing with someone in her 20s who said that she thought that her 20s was going to be the best time of her life. That young, vibrant self of, I'm going to achieve everything I want to. And she was like, that's a very big lie. Whoever told you that deceived you? Because the best part of your life comes as you progress, meaning that every decade even becomes better. So your 20s are foundational, your 30s becomes better, your 40s become better, your 50s become better. I was looking at it that, but we still have people in their 20s, really social media age. And when you hear the exploit they are doing, you are like, it looks like that 20.
You that you're not doing any expert. It feels like
it looks like that 20 is the peak. Exactly. So what do you
20s.
think about, this conversation with Dr. Meg J and Mel Robbins? I think you should also watch the podcast.
I think Nigerians need to hear that a lot. We need to debunk the mindset that anything you don't achieve in your 20s, you're not achieving again in your life, right? Because a lot of people started doing exploits in 50s. I think Mary Kay, they said she started her brand at 60-something. And now, Mary Kay, you cannot hear Mary Kay. You cannot hear makeup and not hear Mary Kay, right? So, yeah, I think
even when it comes to marriage, I watched one recently that said, some people glorify getting married in their early 20s. Some got married in their late 40s, and they got married to people.
Fun. Yeah.
Exactly. I think there's Rita Dominic who got married at 47 or so. Yeah. And she's still glowing and beautiful at 50. So I think timelines shouldn't be a cage for us. It should rather be something we explore. So I'm just thinking about it. And let me tell my ladies so
And I think that,
them to think.
I think that people should also, as much as, what you said makes a lot of sense. I agree totally. But I also think that in your 20s, is the time that, it's like you're moving from being a teenager, and then you have maybe a whole 10 years in front of you to get something done, to achieve something. So it's just a time that I feel like people should still put in the work or put in whatever they do. However, if you're not able to achieve what you want to achieve, it's okay.
Still fine.
It's fine. But honestly, this is the period for you to drive, because we all, even though we are saying that, like she said Nigerians need to hear this, because we also understand that there's certain opportunities for you that is age, before you hear, the next thing you hear, age limits.
True.
So
not more than 5 years.
Still put in the work.
So it gives us that pressure as well.
Yeah.
But you've all spoken beautifully well. And this is how we wrap up our banter this morning. We take a short break. When we come back, we're heading straight to the papers this morning. We have interesting updates across Nigerian newspapers, so you do not want to miss anything. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. All right, welcome back, valued viewers. What are your thoughts on these historical milestones? I'd love to hear your insight and your perspectives. Remember, you are the main ingredient in all of our conversations, and I always love to hear your thoughts. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702-500-7749 or 07014242420. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is at Official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link. Tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV and do not miss this for anything. We're going to scan the papers of the morning. We have the Punch, the Tribune, and of course the Guardian newspaper. So starting with the Punch is the Radiant Chiama.
Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the stories making headlines in the Punch. FG generates 5.21 trillion naira from oil sales in the first half of 2025. IG extends tinted glass permit enforcement to October 2. I hope the police on the road hears this. Government warns 3,598 workers of dismissal, orders fresh verification. World Bank approves fresh 12.98 trillion naira loans to Nigeria in 2 years. I'm taking my time to call out that money. I'll read it again. World Bank approves fresh 12.98 trillion naira loans to Nigeria in 2 years. We've not paid back. Okay. Panic in ADC as EFCC goes after key members. Just last night, the news came that EFCC grilled coalition member Tambuwal over 189 billion naira fraud and insists on probe. Key coalition members push back as anti-graft body summons 3 governors. Coming below, 5 face trial over 2022 Owo church terror attack. Ogun removes demolition seal as Daniel threatens Abiodun with lawsuit. And lastly, and my story of interest, is Ibom Air passengers remand ignites selective justice opera. Yeah, it's my story of interest because I don't know if we saw the video from this incident. And I don't know what's going on with the aviation and people, because just a couple of days ago, K1 just did his own. A whole one person stopping a whole aircraft from taking off. And you're wondering, the audacity, who is your vendor, sir? Like, make it make sense. Okay, and now this situation of this Ibom Air passenger, I think what they said started the whole issue was she was asked to turn off her phone. Right, you know, when you're taking off and landing in an aircraft, you're actually advised to turn off your phone. And I took my time to find out why. And they said the mobile phones emit some signals that interferes, right? So you take off and landing at the most accident-prone periods. So you are asked to turn it off. And sometimes, well, in most countries, the technology has made everything better in some way. So the interference are a bit rare these days, but you're still advised, do airplane mode instead. Just leave your phone for a few minutes. You understand that? No matter how urgent it is, even when they've gotten to the altitude they need, they tell you, oh, you can now turn off your devices, turn on your devices, and you can do your work. If you even need data, you can buy on air. You know, so what is difficult in that? Would you rather this embarrassment? And honestly, I think this girl should go for a medical check. No jokes. I think she should, because the way she was, aggravating towards this guy is the way she was very angry, She slapped the crew member, for God's sake.
I think I saw a news that said she's been remanded.
Yes, she has.
Had some curriculum or so. I don't know the particular reason.
First of all, she abuses that crew member. That lady, she gave a dirty slap. And now, while they were taking her to someone's office, now I think fan or something, she's still, I saw that video this morning, dragging the man's thigh, like she wants to kill the man. What is
the thing with anger is that you don't know how far it takes you. I've been in a situation where you feel like I'm going to damn all the consequences and do it. I'm not sure she was in her right state of mind. Probably she thought that, oh, I could quickly just get over this.
But look at the embarrassment.
Yes.
Your clothes was torn.
Can you see? This is not a normal behavior.
Just exactly. And right inside that vehicle, as they were going, see the people carrying, she was
not a normal behavior.
So my own point of view with this is, I wouldn't say that she's totally right, but at the same time, I feel the people, the workers there also need some lack of professional etiquette.
No.
Wait. Let me come to that aspect, because I feel if we're not to be Africa or Nigeria, to be precise, right? Let's say, for instance, it was outside the country, a white land country. I don't think that you gave an order, right, for the benefit of everyone, for the safety of everyone, and we have somebody who faulted it. I wasn't expecting that lady to have, stopped her from disembarking from the plane. The best thing she could have done was, if it was a very professional setting, they have a professional way of handling things, right? They could have made a phone call before the plane disembarked down. They could have made a phone call that, somebody disobeyed an order, so as she is disembarking from the plane, please arrest her. Not you obstructing her movement.
Well, I do get that.
It could have been done properly, and it wouldn't have messed up, or it wouldn't have turned to this point where she was now being angry or aggravated, and she had to slap.
There's nothing you can use to justify
I'm not justifying her action, but I'm also saying, at the same time, I will also get angry. You told me to turn off my phone, right? I didn't turn it off. So the best thing you could have done is, when I'm getting down from the plane, you can arrest me, but not to stop me from disembarking from the plane.
Hold on. So I feel like as Nigerians,
in a way too, she has also infringed on her rights.
So I feel like as Nigerians, we are just very funny, and even not only Nigerians, when it comes to people everywhere, simple instruction is simple instruction. Follow something. This is you being educated. This is you being literate about something. You don't even need anybody to tell you.
Exactly.
I might not have flown before, but I know that at a point or at some point, you are supposed to turn off your phone. And then when it is coming to you, don't let us stress this thing so much. I understand what you are saying, but the point is that turn off your phone is turn off your phone.
All right.
Don't stress
because we need to move away from this, I think it's an interesting headline story you've given us. So people have been saying that we also need to hear from the point of the person, the young lady that assaulted the official. And the reason why I would say that nobody cares about our own updates now is because you try to solve exactly. That's what people miss. Exactly. Many times you could even you could have been able to avoid all of this trouble if you were innocent from beginning. But the fact that you slapped the person, they were carrying you, were acting like you were on drugs. How are we going to even support you at this point? I was even going to say that maybe
they should get that tested.
I know they used to do drug tests and everything, but they should be doing the one that is more intense.
And
let us know
check.
what you have sniffed before entering there, because this is. I don't want to be so vulgar, but that's not a normal attitude.
It's not. And she wasn't even willing to stop. But even
please, like I would say, before every action occurs, there would have been something that happened prior to that.
Goodness,
I'm not taking her side.
No, I get you.
I'm not taking her side. But I believe that something would have instigated her to have behaved that way.
What would instigate you to act that irrational?
Did you know that the video was not just
No. I'm asking you now. What would instigate you?
It could be that probably when she was sitting, the lady came and spoke to her so rudely.
So
even before they spoke to her,
enough for you to get your dress done.
When I read for her, they said her wig was on. The lady in question that was being saying that somebody was slapping her was the one who removed her wig from her head. Was the one who also dragged her shirt. But the video was not there. But she explained. So that's what I'm saying. That we should not. I'm not saying that she's actually right. But at the same time, we should not look at it with just one bad view. We should also look at it from the angle of that particular lady. What had happened transpired between both of them before they just brought up that video. They should have given us exclusively all the video from when she was seated to from the point where she was told that she should turn off her phone.
Well, sadly, right, is what we have that we're working with. But I still maintain my stance that nothing should trigger you to that point.
Yes, because if it does, we will not defend you at the end of the day.
What about the officials part?
Let's move away from the story. Let's take one more story from The Guardian, then The Tribune. Let's start with The Guardian. Just one story.
Okay, so let us look at The Guardian news. The interesting thing is that was what I wanted to talk about. So maybe we might have to move to The Tribune newspaper, very quickly. But let us look at the headlines and then some other stories. So the one that I have here, the first one is glitches extortion as police insist on new tinted permit shift deadline. So they shifted this deadline to 2nd of October already. So I think the police on the streets should actually see this and not do anything before that October 2nd. And then we have panel chides and cause over worsening sanitation in reform. facilities. Reactions trail sanctions. Remand of unruly air passenger as federal government decries rising cases. Competent leadership reduced Argentina's poverty rate from 52% to 38% in 2 years. This is coming from Peter Obi. I'm just looking forward to what is about to happen in the country in 2027.
Yeah, we all are.
ADC accuses EFCC of witch hunt as Tambuwal held over alleged 189 billion naira bridge. Protest rock Yelewata as gunmen kill 3 in fresh attack. NYSC versus Raye, vengeful act, says LP, as lawyer threatens lawsuit. And the last one we have here, visually impaired protesters block airport road over closure of Farmcraft Center. So I will just leave it to Goodness to check the Tribune newspaper.
All right, so on the Tribune newspaper today, I wouldn't say that we have beautiful stories, but we have an interesting one. So starting with the above the masthead, we have Tambuwal in EFCC custody, over 189 billion naira cash withdrawals. I don't know why all the time we're always having government officials with all these skeletons in their cupboard. I don't want to say with, you know, looting of money or several times. And besides that, we have DSS arraigns 5 over 2022 over church killings. And down below the masthead, we have, of course, the splashy news that we just discussed earlier on. Value Jets and Ibom Air incident. It's double standard. Justice must be fair, equal, says Obi. That story can be read further on page 4. We have the rider that says police arrest female passenger, court remands her in Kirikiri prison. Airline operators ban her from flying for life. Federal government to punish Ibom Air official who released passengers indecent video. I think I also like that aspect. It's really, really an interesting story.
That's a balanced justice.
Yeah. So, of course, we also have Nigeria's health sector funded 90% domestically, says Minister. I wouldn't have omitted that news, of course. And lastly, I'm looking at FDA approves new eye drop that can fix far-sightedness without glasses.
Oh, wow.
A good innovation to that. A very good innovation.
I think that's the interesting news you should have been saying.
Of course, all the stories here are interesting. So back to Nigeria's health sector, funded 90% domestically, says by the minister. I'm wondering, how is that possible? Because over time, we'll be discussing on this table where we've been clamoring that the health sector receives the minimum, you know,
Education sector.
Health and education.
Health and
the
education.
minimum allocation in the country. So yeah, the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, that's Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, has disclosed that Nigeria's health sector is largely funded domestically, with external funding accounting for less than 10% of the total health spend. If it's been funded 90%, why are the government officials flying abroad to go and receive health? Yes, why are they flying abroad to go and receive healthcare, you know, good healthcare this thing benefit there?
They don't
If
trust
it's
the
90%, stay in your country now and receive the treatment you want. You don't need to go abroad.
Goodness came for a lot of people this morning.
And she's still coming back.
Like it. So concerning that health sector, I'm not taking any major paper, but there was something I read as regards the Nigerian Customs Service. Said on Monday, they intercepted 16 containers carrying contrabands, including arms and expired pharmaceuticals, amongst others. And the duty-paid value of all this seizure is more than 10 billion naira. Can you see that we have a lot of rats in so many places? Like, you know, when rats eat something, not in one place, but in many places, I want you to have that visual image. So I'm wondering, how do we begin to patch it? From which area are we going to be looking at? So this is something that we've discussed many times: contraband, fake drugs, and these things are spanning into huge amount of money. Right. So we've seen some intercepted already, and I'm sure a number of them are still, a number of these officials, customs service officials, even NAFDAC, going around the country to intercept this. It's terrible. I've seen medical content creators like Apoko Doctor come out to tell us that a lot of things are happening. There was one video even put out recently. He said that they are deceiving people now, people that are looking for children. I don't know if you watched that video. So there's this fake injection that they give them that will make them bloated. You would think a baby is growing inside you. You will have stretch mark. You'll be vomiting, have pregnancy symptom.
And then there's a caveat. They'll tell you don't go to the hospital.
Exactly, for scan. You should come to us. I'm like, but you are leveraging on people's desperation. Because when it comes to children, everybody wants to do anything to have a child. So the health sector needs a lot of washing and sanitization because a number of wrong things are happening. And this shows us that I like the fact that in our analysis, of certain things that are happening, we're seeing the government part, their responsibility, and the part that human beings as well play. Another video that has been making waves, I don't know if you saw Solomon Buchi's video yesterday, where they were comparing one cake festival that the white people did and Nigeria. His own comment there was not to really speak down on Nigerians, but to show that, do you not see that we have a character flaw that needs to be sorted? It was so embarrassing. I'm a lover of cake, and at first I was like, Precious, would you have done this? But no, I shouldn't. I wouldn't have done that. So a lot of things, looking from the aircraft story and everything, shows that as human beings ourselves, we need to start reconditioning our minds. How do we really think and behave in a country before we start saying the government, the government? So today's papers have been really eye-opening. I'm sure our viewers have a number of things to say as well. And if you do, please let us know on our YouTube page. Of course, you can also call our phone lines, and I'll be more than glad to pick it up and hear your voice. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we're heading straight to another hot topic today. NYSC withdraws the certificate of Raye. I'm sure you've heard about the story a number of times. Today, we want to open it up. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back, our dearest viewers. So our topic today has been titled NYSC Clarifies Reasons Behind Raye's Withheld Certificates. The National Youth Service Corps has been in the headlines again, this time over the case of Oshi Rita Ugamaye, popularly known as Raye, a corps member who recently completed her service here in Lagos. Raye became a viral figure months ago after she posted a TikTok video describing Nigeria's economic hardship and even calling Lagos smelly. That post drew mixed reactions, with some praising her courage and others accusing her of disrespect. Fast forward to April 2025, when it was time for her to collect her certificate. Raye says she was blocked from completing her mandatory biometric clearance, her file was seized, and she was told to leave. The NYSC has now clarified that she's among 131 corps members whose certificates were withheld for disciplinary reasons, specifically for missing the April biometric clearance. According to NYSC, this is standard procedure under its bylaws, and her service here has been extended by 2 months. But the controversy deepens. Critics, including human rights lawyer Femi Falana, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and the Labour Party candidate, says the move appears politically motivated, arguing that withholding her certificate could be retaliation for her outspoken criticism of the government. The NYSC insists that it's purely procedural, but rights groups like SERAP are warning that this could have a chilling effect on freedom of expression in Nigeria. So the question is, was this a simple matter of procedure, or a case where an outspoken young Nigerian is paying the price for speaking her mind? And beyond Raye's case, what does this say about the balance between discipline, free speech and civic responsibility in our institutions. Of course, I would be having this conversation with my lovely ladies. Let's dive into this matter. So, I'm sure you guys have a number of things to say. Everybody has been breathing in and holding their breath that, oh, we have to discuss this. So people have a number of things to say. I think I have some tweets I wanted to read. I don't know if I can pick it up. Okay, give me just a minute. So this tweet is the one I saw on a particular blog post, and I think Aproko Doctor and a number of people came out to say something. So Aproko Doctor said, if you're a copper and you have collected your certificate, it's a good time to speak up for Raye. I think that's how the name is pronounced, right? Yeah. So she's the reason you were able to earn 77K this year. She spoke up for you. Don't abandon her now. Some other persons have come out to say that this is Emeka. He says, one thing I will not argue with you people is if Raye was the reason corporate started receiving 77K. That says, so it was in the budget. Why then did they wait for her outcry before they started paying it? He says, you people are terribly dishonest. Our focus now is for official NYSC to release her certificate and a number of things, honestly. But firstly, let's start from even understanding this whole issue, because I don't like it many times when public offices or, you know, government-owned parastatals are facing a lot of scrutiny as regards their procedures, because we expect a lot of transparency. We expect the public to really trust everything that you are doing. So now that everything has been put in the open, people are saying NYSC has been political in their approach, in how they handled everything, that, oh, don't just say she's amongst the 131 people that you're trying to discipline. There's some political motivation here. Do you understand? And it's making me to question that, do you think NYSC could have handled this matter more transparently to avoid the public suspicion of political bias? Who wants to go first?
Okay. You know, there's a fine line between institutional discipline and outright political intimidation.
All right.
You know, there is also, you know, when discipline begins to look like payback, it begs the question, is it really about the rules, or you're trying to get back at this girl and hence silencing every other person, right? And, you know, beautifully, this is not the first time something like this has happened, right? There's a guy in 1988.
I like when Chema comes with the figures and stats. 1955, let's have it.
There's a guy in 1988, Bamidele, he was a lawyer before he died. This guy's certificate was confiscated. Why? Because he refused to shake the hands of the military governor of Niger State during the POP.
Wow.
Yeah, he refused to shake. So they seized the certificate. Why? Because he embarrassed the governor. So fast forward to now, it's Raye's turn. Oh, Auntie, not go for biometric. But she was there. So it's a lot of things to think about. Now I'm going to digress a bit. June 12th, Tinubu's speech at the National Assembly, I watched it. And this guy, let me read it verbatim so that I don't misquote.
All right, let's have it.
He said, now I'm speaking on democracy, right? Freedom of speech. Tinubu said, call me names, call me whatever you will, and I will still call upon democracy to defend your right to do so. No one should bear the brunt of injustice for merely writing a bad report about me or calling me names. So I think this encapsulates everything. So because she's a national, or she's a youth corps member, she shouldn't speak up, you know, within her rights as a citizen of Nigeria. I'm sorry, is it a cult? Is NYSC a cult? I can't speak up because, and I think, I'm sorry, but I think that's why they put that phrase of you don't participate in some partisan activities while you're serving, so you're not allowed to protest. What is protest, really? Nobody is coming to fight. Nobody is. In fact, I think, I'm sorry, but I think these government people even make protests more dangerous, because by the time you're mounting police here and there, here and there, here and there, it's a peaceful protest calling for what I want. So why can't a youth corps member, you know, be able to participate? I saw some reports back there say, oh, if you participate, there'll be sanctions and all that and all that. What was Raye's crime? You know, these things, I mean, now look at what Tinubu has said. When a leader's words, right, and the actions of the government institution to uphold it don't tally, we don't trust either of you, right? So is this an act to, you know, enforce, you know, all of these rules and regulations, really? Or, you know, looking beyond Raye, what is the implications for other young people out there? Yeah, we should submit to oppression. Make it make sense.
All right, let me hear from Goodness. How do you think NYSC could have handled this matter? Actually, as people have suspicions with political biases, it's just a suspicion. No, I mean, NYSC is supposed to be non-partisan too, in that regard, since they want their members to be like that. So they wouldn't come out to say, I'm supporting a particular party or a particular administration. I think the allegiance of NYSC, the administrators and the members there, is allegiance to the country itself. Exactly. That's why they say you are serving your father's land, right? So I'm looking at that case too. Before I digress, let me hear Goodness talk. Because there's something I was going to say now.
I want to say something in Yoruba, right? And you permit me to say that.
Please
this
interpret
situation
in English.
is what they call agbaya. Agbaya means that when an elderly person is trying to infringe on the young person's rights. Right? Well, I'm going to give an instance. When I was 7, but I'm not going to mention the state, right? There was a guy who worked in the editorial aspect in the camp. And because this guy refused to join a particular, what do you call it, this editorial, these different bodies you can join when you're on camp. The guy refused. And the next thing for the coordinator to do was to wait for him at the point where he was going to receive his certificate. And I will tell you, and I'm saying it with my full eyes open, that the NYSC officials, they like doing that a lot. That when a core member does something that is against their will, they will wait till when the person wants to receive the certificate. As if, no, that's like their last try. That, okay, Shebi, you will come and collect your certificate. I want to see how you will do it. And to tell you the truth, I was even opportune to be the one of the secretary, that's the PRO, during my own turn. And the thing was, this guy was really lamenting, begging the man, please. The guy didn't do anything wrong. I was even begging for him. The man told me I should shut up, I should get out. I was like, I don't understand, what has this guy done? Because he refused to join our own editorial, but it doesn't mean that you should confiscate his certificate. The thing is quite annoying. And the next thing, the guy had to apologize, roll on the ground, like kneel, do several things.
Did they give him eventually?
They gave him eventually, okay. But they had to delay it. So what I'm saying is, it is not today, it is not new to me that the NYSC officials usually use the last moment to get back to whoever does what is against their will. And several times when we're on camp, they will tell you, don't take screenshots, don't write anything negative, anything that is bad on the camp, don't put it out there. Why? Why shouldn't we put it out there? We are suffering. You said we should not put it out there. Why? Because we are serving. In my own time, it was very terrible. The accommodation was terrible, and yet you're telling me I should not put it out there.
All right, we've said a number of things, and this claim is quite heavy. Like I said today, I really want to hear from our past core members. But we have to take a short break now. When we come back, I'd like to hear Triumph's point of view as well. And our viewers, please comment and let us know what you think about how NYSC could have handled this matter. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. All right, welcome back, our valued viewers. Today we're discussing about the NYSC's recent action to withhold the certificate of Raye, a youth corper who recently, or at a point, came out to criticize the government. And this has sparked a lot of debates, one that is even currently happening on this table. And of course, Chairman has said that a number of things are happening. I think Goodness Own is more, Goodness Own is, it goes back home because she can recount stories of how...
I can also relate with what is currently happening to Raye, because it is not the first time the NYSC officials are doing that. And I'm actually telling the government, now even the president, that they should check the NYSC officials. They should stop silencing core members when they're on camp. If they see any injustice or anything wrong, give them the opportunity to speak up. You're talking about reaching the grassroots level. And this is how we also reach the grassroots level. Instead of you silencing the core members when they're on camp, they are your eyes, in short. The president, the core members on camp are your eyes.
Yeah, right.
That's very interesting. And so that means we're saying that the disciplinary action, because when you hear discipline first, you should expect that it should be a measure to curtail people, because we can't just give kudos to every core member.
Sorry, to curtail people's excesses or people's wrongdoing.
Yeah. So there are still wrongdoings amongst core members that we cannot put aside. But this disciplinary measure seems to be overstretched, where they're infringing on people's rights. That's what we're saying.
Right.
And so we need to now start looking at it. So this is a call to NYSC, the administrators, the government, because NYSC is a governmental parastatal, to look more into their disciplinary measures and the people executing these measures. Because I think sometimes the rules are not the problem. Many times it's the people who are in charge of executing it or implementing or even interpreting these rules that are usually the problem. And if more than one person comes out to talk about what is happening in NYSC, I think it's time for us to do deep sanitization across board. So let's hear what Triumph has to say firstly, before I move on to this free speech thing, because I have a comment. I do have one. Let us hear Triumph.
So, I mean, so that I don't, continue with the tempo and just get angry and then we just pack our bags away from this place. So honestly, I would like to say that I served already, right? And I think not just, with service, these things also goes down to other part of, education. When you're in school, when you're in university, we have this kind of cases happening too, where because of something that you've done to a lecturer, and then the lecturer is telling you that we wait for you when you get to 400 level.
I was a victim.
Can you say?
Same thing I was.
Can you say?
Been a quiet
So
girl.
if I call about 10 people here, at a different point in time, you would have heard, a situation or a story of social indiscipline, like you mentioned, social injustice, right? So what I would really like to say is that I don't really understand. Maybe because I am not, I am not old yet, but thank God I am growing. Thank God I am growing. However, I do not see any reason why, because you feel like you're older, or older, you're in higher position, and then maybe you're older by age, because that is another thing they try to do. There is this thing with the fact that, young people are not trained. They are not respectful. They are not. In fact, if we remember clearly that Raye's video that we are talking about, there were some words she was talking about inside it, and then she had to come out to apologize about the things that she was saying. So there is this thing with the fact that young people, they are the way they are. So it feels like the older people, both in higher position or in higher age, feels like they will use the law to humble the young ones.
The word humble.
To humble the young ones. However, I feel like as much as you feel like you're in a position, or you're actually in a position to correct, it doesn't mean that you should be in that position to actually intimidate. Now, look at this Raye story. Things happen during NYSC. For different reasons, people are coming from different places and all of that. Some people are not even able to complete, the 12 months, maybe because of their location, because they are married, because different things. And then people have to go from one location to the other. We have the case with relocation, redeployment, all those things. Now, what I'm saying is that let us be able to see that you're actually humbling us. Because it's not even all youths that are not trained. How about we that we are trained, that we are educated and all of that? So what should happen? And sometimes before you get to this situation, now let me say something about this Raye story.
I'm sorry, but I want to cut you short because there's another angle that I want us to look at. So firstly, there is a claim from NYSC that she missed her biometric clearance. And people have said she didn't miss it. So, like goodness have been saying for that aircraft story, it's good that we see two angles to this story. Because according to the NYSC bylaws, it was amended in 2011, if you actually do miss this, without any political bias or motivation, you get an extension, and many times you do not get your certificate.
I want to ask
so the question, before you ask me a question, the question I'm asking is, have we done an investigation to actually find out if Raye didn't miss that clearance.
Also,
because if she did, whether or not it's politically motivated, you know that there's the hidden motive. This could be a strong reason why there's an extension or why her result, or sorry, her certificates could be withheld.
I also want to ask the NYSC officials, was Raye paid for that month of April? Because you can't, if you miss your clearance for a particular month, that means you won't get paid for that month. So if Raye gets paid for April, then that means she was present for her clearance. You can't, according to the NYSC body, the way they run things down, for every month you do a clearance to get your money. So if they claim that Raye didn't come in April for her clearance, meaning she also didn't get a payment, her allowance for that month.
So we need to do a lot of investigation. So we are not just reacting to this from a point of agitation, because I've shown you the tweets we read. Many coppers, right, are on the side of Raye because she's like the savior and the messiah that made us to get the whole 77,000. So
however, it's not everybody that believed that she was actually the savior, because even with the youth, people don't believe that, some people don't believe that she's the reason for why. That's why some people are actually happy about the situation she's in right now. And what I wanted to mention earlier was that when Raye spoke up about the situation of things, one thing that I would love Nigerians to really understand is that when people speak up for you, sometimes, or speak up for themselves, sometimes it's not that maybe they are in that same position. As at the time Raye was doing that video, it was not like maybe she was a poor person. It was not like maybe she could not eat or she could not fend for herself.
Her house even showed that she's living in a very
honestly,
and it's not the 77,000 naira that
is feeding her and all of that. So even if she did not,
they go gym, sir. Very exquisite. How much is gym membership from? But the point is, let's even talk about this whole freedom of speech angle thing. So I think that I don't want us to be scapegoats in this country. People say, I don't like the phrase, but people use the phrase. I don't like it, so what's the word? There's this particular word that it just escaped me now. They say, let Nigeria not happen to me. That's the word. I don't really like it because I'm Nigerian, but I'm Nigerian. Let me experience the whole Nigerian, stuff. But there's this thing about free speech thing that we are missing. And many people fall into that trap and become scapegoats. You mentioned something that was very keen, and I was listening to you. You said that when she came out to firstly criticize the government, I think I watched the video, it was Raz. The things she said, I mean, if an international body, because as a core member, you are representing your nation.
Right.
There's a bias with representing your nation. Let's not even lie about that. That's why even if you're an ambassador for something, look at ambassadors that they sign in for brands. If your brand has done something wrong, that's what they will use crisis management to shield everything. So you can't be a Pepsi ambassador and then something happens to Pepsi and you come out to say, oh, this brand. There's a way you do it because you are firstly a representation of that brand. Right. So as a National Youth Service Corps member, you are a representation, all right? Representative, pardon me, of the Nigerian government, because you, by yourself, chose to serve your father's land. That's the quote we use, isn't it? So I'm not wondering that with that heavy responsibility that we have, don't you think at this time, corps members need to be more cautious in how they criticize the government? You clearly said, I'm holding your own point now. You said that when she came out of first to make this, I mean, there was even, the introduction said that she called Lagos smelly. The words she used, it's almost like as if we're living in a dungeon. I'm sure, of course, because of how agitated and angry you can be at some things, our words can go overboard. Even sometimes on this table, we go overboard. We use the bracket allegedly because we are trying to be calm and everything. But if we look at it holistically, don't you think at this point, for Nigerian corps members or even Nigerian youths in general, so that we do not find ourselves in boxes that we cannot escape from?
That's right.
Wow, what kind of measures do you think we can use? Firstly, well, of course, President Tinubu already came out to say democracy is going to prevail, even if you have to criticize my government. But how do you think we should do it? Because I think I have a problem with that. I see many young people use their phones on Twitter, on social media. You know, everybody can do 1 minute, 30 seconds reel, and they're like, oh, the president is this, president is that. I understand that many of those things can be true. The things we're saying are what we're saying. But how are we saying it so that we're not getting into trouble? Let us open that up as we begin, to wrap up.
I feel like there's just enough that someone can take, right? As much as we're standing or representing the nation, right? We get it. It's our obligation to protect the image of this nation.
Yes.
But at the point where it doesn't favor you anymore, you now that is, imagine you as an ambassador, they're not paying your okay, you see the laugh? Exactly. They're not paying you
quickly.
Exactly. So I think everybody is choked. You want us to represent you, treat us better. Right? Imagine it took a viral video to pay 77,000.
Well, we don't really know if that is what
it was. Even if it was already there, even if it was already there, why wait for a little girl to call you out?
That's just the truth.
Do you get? That's what I'm trying to say.
They will increase
exactly. You keep saying you will. What is 33? Is beyond. Is below the minimum wage. In a country that the inflation is hitting the skies, right? It is just enough. There are people that they send that money home for family to feed. Do you understand? So yes, as much as we should protect, pad up our nation and present it well to the global stage, give me something to work with. That's my stance, really.
How about you, Goodness?
Well, for me, I will also say that the government should also try to, do the right thing by ensuring that the citizens are, I want to say totally satisfied, because in economics, you can never satisfy human want. But at the same time, give us a leverage of something that we can make do of. So don't wait. I noticed that Nigerian government wait for just one person to come out before they will put that particular thing in place. I'm not talking about
the role of the government at this point. I'm talking about the youth themselves,
the
young
what
persons,
saying.
like
for
people
the
like us that want, because the Nigerian government know their fault. I'm not sure they're oblivious to this. So, they hear it across different channels. People are always bombarding them with criticism. Ourselves, how do we now protect ourselves, even though we are vocal about our, discontent? That's what I'm talking about.
In our country, we are in Nigeria, right? The only way we can actually save ourselves as youth is also our social media, and that's why they use it the most, right? But at the same time, we also have human rights. We have different bodies too that can also protect us. As youth, we have the liberty. We have the liberty to speak up. So we're also appealing to people that can also, let's say, did their back for the youths, to support the youths when they are doing the right thing, not when they are doing the wrong thing. I'm not saying when the youth is using the social media to, cause nuisance on the platform, then we should support them.
But when they are doing the right thing, that you have mentioned, some political activists. Okay, continue.
Away from what you've said, away from what Cher said, I think the part that I really want to talk about and open up is as regards the fact that sometimes as youth, we too did do.
True.
Let's talk about forgetting Raye's story and all of that. Everybody, because you think you have a phone, you have a camera, you have quite a number of followers on ring light or whatever, it doesn't permit you to turn on your camera and say whatever you want. Because there's something that I say a lot, and I say it whenever it is as regards people that even have quite a number of followers. There's some people that would watch your video and they will set that as the standard for their life. So don't come and be telling us things that don't make sense. I'm not saying maybe that you can't express your freedom of speech. Now I am going down to certain videos. Some people should not open their camera. Don't record. Stop it. Because if you want to say things, you know that as much as we used to feel like maybe we are the youth, they are intimidating us, sometimes we do some things and I'm wondering that what's going on? Yeah. So if you know that the things that you're going to be saying, I can't even tell you that because you even feel like you're making a whole lot of sense, especially if you have family members, like you said, they will say that you're doing well, go on, yes, that's the energy. That's not the energy. Don't bring that energy here. Whenever you want to say things, please and please, be very cautious of what you're saying. And when you're saying things, like, say the truth. This thing boils down to different aspects, like, if I want to open up this matter, I'm going to be saying a whole lot of things. But honestly, whenever you want to talk, don't feel like just because you can say whatever you want, because you have your phone, you have your camera, you can say whatever you want.
So, in wrapping up this particular segment, apologies, because we have to work with time. Something just came to my mind that there is a natural stance we all take when it comes to criticism with our nation and certain things that are happening, and that's calling out. So I see a lot of people that just aggravate the problem. You magnify the problem that we already know. We also do it when we read the papers. We magnify the problem for you. But I think that, with calling out things as well, if we prefer solutions, it makes a lot of sense. So when we went for our first campus tour, I remember that in our preparation, our boss told us that as we were, of course, going to analyze things critically, we should also prefer solutions that will be sent out to the necessary ministry to be able to take action. So it was not a round table discussion where we're bashing people and saying, oh, what kind of nation is this? No, we were speaking intelligently, if I can say so myself. We're calling the things that were absolutely wrong. We're calling things that, oh, I've gotten better but needs to be improved on. And solutions, the respective bodies. So I think that even for young people, we are quite intelligent as young persons. We have a vast appreciation of things and knowledge, right? So instead of just talking and ranting, if you prefer solutions, nobody will really hold you for having said something wrong. So there's a way to speak. Today, public speaking is becoming a very major skill. There's a way you will say something. I will say the same thing, but nobody will hold me because I've said it in the right way.
That's right.
So in our nation, we can't allow ourselves, like that story of the aircraft girl. She did something bad. That's why nobody is supporting her at this point. Do you understand? So let's not even get to that position where people will not want to give us our support because they're like, you said something wrong. You said Raye came out to apologize. You wouldn't have needed to apologize if what you said from the beginning even made a lot of sense. Yes, what you said made sense in some ways because you opened up what was wrong, but did you prefer solution? You said Lagos is smelly. Did you write or say any direct message to the people responsible in this ministry that these are the things you can do, this is what other nations are doing, this is what we can copy as well, in the most natural, simplest, empathetic tone? Do you get it? Sometimes it's also the tone. I know there's this trending Instagram sound where people speak in this the sounds just hit. So everybody's like, what do you say? But there's also an empathetic tone to relay a message. And if the people responsible at fault hear this, they'll be like, well, these people have said the things that are right, and let's look at it. I'm just saying this from a very neutral point. Because at the end of the day, we don't even know if Raye is going to get her certificates. Why do I need to be in this situation? Why? Somebody was saying that, oh, maybe she doesn't even need it now because she's an entrepreneur. But there are other kind of job opportunities that you will need that will require this certificate.
It's not even about Raye now. Somebody else will say, oh, Raye did it. And look at her, she's fine. But you're not an entrepreneur. And then you're not going to follow. So generally, I think I would want to wrap up by saying for every action, there's a reaction. So before you come and call anybody out, count your cost.
Yes. Yes.
Well, for me, I would just say temper justice with mercy. Just temper justice with mercy. Well, with the story of the girl with the Ibom hair and with Raye, temper justice with mercy. Just like we have our officials who will come out to apologize and you grant them what we call prorogation of mercy, let's say. The same thing should also abide with the citizens. So once they've discovered their fault, just pardon them.
I like that. Yes, please pardon Raye and give her a certificate. At the end of the day, the Raye story isn't just about a certificate. It's about trust in our institutions, the space for young voices, and the fine line between discipline and suppression. So whether you believe this was simply NYSC following procedure or a veiled punishment for speaking out, one thing is clear. A democracy is healthiest when rules are applied fairly and when young people can serve their country without fear that their opinions will cost them their future. And this is how we wrap up today's show. Ensure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, and we'll catch you again tomorrow with another exciting topic. See you and have a great day.